Oh, all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's coaching call. I am MJ, a senior aesthetic consultant here with Diamond Accelerator, and I am here with Juliana, our go-to marketing expert. You guys, we just got back from the aesthetic show in Vegas, and let me tell you, we did not just attend, we showed up with intention. Okay. We sat in on some incredible lectures, connected with top leaders in the industry, and we really walked away with insights that are already shaping what's next in aesthetics and wellness. Now, we know many of you either went to the show and are feeling those, post-conference buzz meets burnout feeling. We all know it too well. Or you stayed behind and you're wondering, what did I miss? Should I have gone? And what actually matters to my business? So, this coaching call today is about cutting through that noise. All right. We are going to share the real takeaways that we experienced while we were there, the data that backs it up, and most importantly, how to actually implement what you learn at events like this without the overwhelm. All right. Whether you are scaling, stabilizing, or starting fresh, I really hope that this coaching call will help turn inspiration into execution. So, let's dive into it.
Hey guys, I'm Jules. I'm super excited to share with you guys everything that we learned over the weekend. A little bit about me. If you haven't met me yet, I help med spa owners go from the best kept secret to being locally famous using our smart strategies, scroll stopping content, and systems that drive real revenue. So I was so excited to attend all of the marketing presentations that I could while we were at the aesthetic show. MJ, she's going to introduce herself next. She dove right into the operations and business piece of it. And I'm really excited to share everything with you guys today. And so we're going to dive right into why you should go to conferences. Like it feels like a lot, right? Like, let's be honest, it feels right like a lot. So MJ, if you want to jump right into why you should attend a conference, I think everyone wants to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jules, you're 100% right. It seems like a lot. You have your travel, you have your tickets, you need to, if you're taking your team, you need to cover your team back at the practice. You said it best, it really is a lot. It can take a lot of planning and preparation, but here is why it is worth it. Okay. You want to dive into the trends and the tech. We talk about this a lot. The aesthetics industry is ever changing. Every day, it feels like there's new technology coming out, a new device, a new service, a new product. And it can almost feel overwhelming, but you have got to stay on top of these trends. AI tools, patient engagement automations, new skin and wellness protocols. And if you are not paying attention, you will get left behind. So, the first reason why you should attend shows like the Aesthetic Show is trends and technology. The second reason is my favorite, education. We want to hear directly from industry experts that, that's going to sharpen your leadership and that's going to help you cut through all of the fluff. You consume a lot of information as a business owner, and there is no better information to consume than that from industry experts at shows like these. The third, equally as important, it's those networking opportunities where, we met practice owners, vendors, KOLs that we collaborate with even now, but will in the future. We are, building these important relationships, and you should be too. Conferences like these open doors and opportunity. And even if you only walk away from these conferences with one thing that you will actually implement, it is absolutely worth it. But guess what? Here at Diamond, we are here to help you implement 5. Okay. So, Juliana, I'm curious from your perspective, when a practice owner goes to events like these, how can they use the event for content fuel or marketing momentum?
Yes. Okay. I love this question. So first of all, you're making the investment to go to a conference, right? So you better be making sure that you're milking that content that you're getting there for all that it's worth. Conferences are literally content gold mines. You've got the location, the energy, the industry leaders, all of the exhibitors that are there. You are in your element. So that's what people want to see. Something I tell all of my clients if they're going to a conference is to film everything. Like everything. So from your outfits of the day to your aha moments and your favorite takeaways, behind the scenes storytelling is absolutely the best piece of content that you can get for your brand. A few ideas that I would love to see anyone doing if they're going to a conference is starting off with recording a video about what you learn, right? So you're sitting in and you're learning about a new technique, right? You need to explain that to your patients in a way that they can understand, right? So anytime we're talking about science, we're talking about treatments, it's very important we're breaking it down in a way that they understand how it's going to benefit them. But I think that you also have this really unique opportunity when you're at a conference to talk about how this training, how these, presentations, how the trainings that you're taking, they're going to bring better results to your patients. And that's what they want to see. That's what they want to know, right? How are you going to implement this on me when I come and sit in your chair? So tell them that. Another really great opportunity at conferences is to tag people. So I saw a lot of industry leaders who were resharing what they had been tagged in. So, I saw injectors were tagging their trainers in whatever they had sat in on that day. And that trainer's then taking that and resharing it. And that relationship that you can build on Instagram between your account and other industry leaders is huge for your algorithm. I also really like it when you guys are building your credibility, right? Like I'm at the aesthetic show and and this is helping me be the best in my field. This is helping me, continue my education so I can continue providing at the highest level. I think that when you are telling your patients that, they really admire you for it. So use what you learn to create value-driven content. So using, quotes from sessions that really resonated with you, you can turn that into a reel. You tested this new product at the SkinCeuticals booth, and this is what you learned, and this is what you learned about X, Y, and Z ingredients, and how you can implement it into, your their skincare routine, and doing like first impression story series. And I just think that there's so many opportunities when you walk around the exhibitor booths, when you're attending those presentations, just really milk everything that you can. So don't just do it for the vibes. Make your content work by turning it into something that's evergreen. So any insight that you picked up, whether it be in Vegas or another conference, it could live on your website. It can show up in your email newsletter. It can be boosted to your ideal audience for next month. You can use it to drive future specials and text blasts. So if you're showing up to these events, don't just attend it, but document it, digest it, drip it out like the marketing queens that I know you guys are, and capitalize on those online relationships with other aesthetic influencers. It's going to help your algorithm and it's going to build your authority. So MJ, my question for you is, how do they turn all of that knowledge that they're getting, right? They're putting it on their social media, they're sending it out in their email newsletters, which is great for marketing, but how do they implement that into true actionable items when they get back home?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a good question. And we talked a lot about that together while we were at the conference. I could not help but look around and think to myself, I am an industry expert. As a consultant, I am very, very well aware of what these devices are, what these new products are well before they launch. But I can imagine if you're a practice owner, that can be so incredibly overwhelming just digesting that information alone. And then you go to these wonderful, fantastic lectures and you're learning all of this information that you may not currently be doing in your practice that you really desperately want to implement. And your question is wonderful. How do you turn everything that you've learned, all of the content that you put together, from overwhelm into action? So again, you're a practice owner. I'm going to paint the picture. You just got back from a big conference like the Aesthetic Show and you're feeling inspired. You've got 37 ideas swirling in your brain, but now you are sitting at your desk thinking, where do I even start? How do I pull these reports that they were suggesting that's going to make or break my business? If that is you, pause, or if that has ever been you after a conference, please call us. Take a deep breath. We are going to walk you through exactly what you need to do next. Okay. This is what we like to call here at Diamond the post-conference power protocol. This is going to take the overwhelm into action. So the very first thing I want you to do is brain dump. I want you to brain dump every single thing that you learned. Grab your notes, grab your phone if that's where you typed it all, and just do a complete brain dump. Even if you think it's information that isn't completely relevant, write it all down. Do not filter it. Write down every single takeaway, every product you saw, every aha moment, every new piece of verbiage or literature or clinical studies that you gathered. Then I want you to go back and circle with what aligns with your 90-day goals. The second thing after you do your brain dump is I want you to prioritize and pick one needle mover. I know it is tempting to want to implement all the things, especially when in these wonderful lectures, they're telling you this is going to change your business, this will change your business. And all of that, I'm holding so much space for that to be true. But I know it's tempting to implement all the things at once, but your focus in this moment is going to be your best friend. I want you to pick one thing that is going to move your business forward, whether that's improving your lead gen, optimizing your consultations and sales process, launching a new membership or service. Pick one thing that you know that you can implement right away and build your next steps around that. 3, I want you to assign and schedule. If you are a client of mine, you hear me talk about like the power of a CEO checklist. What is not in your zone of genius and is in someone else's needs to be delegated. So do not take all of this on yourself. I want you to assign and schedule. You guys, what gets scheduled gets done. Okay. Whatever you're prioritizing, if you don't put action steps or schedule it or when you're going to tackle it, it's not going to get done. So I want you to think, who is going to own this project? Who is the best fit to own this project? What is the deadline? What does done actually look like? What is our measure of success? If there is no plan, there's going to be no progress. Okay. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. And I don't want you, for lack of a better words, to feel like there's so many options that you don't end up making one. Take this power protocol and make decisions after not just conferences, but any type of lecture that you attend where you're getting wonderful ideas, even if it's our awesome coaching calls here. Prioritize, write down one thing that you can strategize, assign, and a due date to get that done and chip away at it over time. Again, if there is no plan, there's going to be no progress. Curious, Jules, from a marketing perspective, when clients come back from these events and they have new ideas, what, in your opinion, would be the smartest way to prioritize and activate from a branding or content lens?
Yes, this one hits home for me. I've been on so many client calls where my clients come back and they are fired up. They're like, we're rebranding. We're launching 4 new services. We're switching CRMs and we're doing PR. And I love how you said pause, because it's like, girl, let's pause for a second, because we need to anchor everything back to your brand goals and your conversion journey, right? So I always say, ask yourself, does this idea help you get seen by more of the right people? Does it help you convert faster or better? And will it strengthen that, patient experience, make you more referable, right? If it doesn't connect to your visibility, conversion, or your retention strategy, it might just be noise. So turn your favorite insight into a patient education series. Like, here's what I learned about skin health at the national conference. Insert authority, execute, and stay on brand. Implement things one at a time.
Absolutely. I love that. One thing at a time. We're not going to get overwhelmed. I am going to kind of switch gears here a little bit. And in true MJ fashion, we're going to talk about one of my favorite things that I know is going to move the needle on your business. And this was a huge topic that was talked about in almost every lecture that we attended. And it is the unsexy truth that is going to change everything in your practice. I promise you. And if you are a client of mine, you are going to laugh. You know exactly what word is going to come out of my mouth. Okay. KPIs, your metrics matter. If you do not know your metrics, you are flying blind. It is so important important that you know your numbers. What are your goals? What are your individual providers hitting? And how are we going to reverse engineer our efforts to exceed those goals? I sat in on a session that really drove this home. And I know that you guys, everyone on this call has heard me say this 1,000 times. Your metrics matter. If you don't know them, you don't know your business. And it's that simple. Revenue alone will never be enough. You need to be watching other metrics as well, like total revenue, service revenue, consult to close rates, provider utilization, cost per lead, membership churn, rebooking rates, utilization rate, if I haven't touched on that one yet, retail to revenue ratio. There are so many more that I could list, and you need to track that as a practice as a whole, as well as each individual provider. I get this question a lot, and I want to kind of take a moment to say, I need to reiterate this. I hear so many of my clients saying, oh, I don't need to track my front desk. I don't need to track my front desk. Yes, you do. Your front desk drives revenue. And if you do not think that they do, you have not trained them well enough, and you need to change your mindset. Your front desk will generate revenue. They are revenue drivers, and you need to treat them as such. So yes, you absolutely need to be tracking their KPIs. Are you going to track the same KPIs as your providers? No, because it's not the same relevant information. We're not going to track service revenue. We're not going to track other, room rate per hour. That's not relevant information to them. But retail, rebooking, what's their rebooking statistics? There are so many metrics: membership sales, total package sales, upsells. There are so many different metrics that you need to track for your front desk. So a big takeaway, again, almost every single lecture is resonating what I'm telling my clients almost every single day. KPIs, you guys, KPI, P&L, your metrics matter so much. These numbers are your roadmap. They're going to tell you what's working, what's underperforming, where to focus your time and money. I always tell my clients your KPIs will paint the entire picture of your practice for me, and your P&L is going to paint the other side of it. That is going to tell me exactly who's underdosing, underperforming, who is not giving a thorough consultation. There is so much information that I can get from your KPIs. Imagine the power that it will give you, okay? Again, if you're not tracking your KPIs, you are flying blind. If you are tracking them, now is the time to review and realign based on what you learned at the conference, okay? Again, your metrics matter so much. One of the things that Jules and I talked about is, okay, let's say you aren't an industry expert like we are. You're sitting in these lectures and you hear, every single person say your metrics matter, pull your KPIs. You sit in front of your desk and you realize you don't know how to pull those reports. You don't know how to get those accurate reports out of your EMR. Or even worse, there's 5 reports that all say that they're going to give you the same thing, but they give you different numbers each time. Which one is your true source of information? That is equally as overwhelming, because now you've done our power protocol. You're like, I've picked one thing. It's going to be my KPIs. I'm going to do it on July 2nd here, and I'm going to assign it to my practice manager. First, I'm going to walk her through it. You're going through our power protocol. You and your practice manager sit down and you don't know how to get the true source of your information. If that is you, if you have been in that position, please call us. If you are a client of ours, we have you covered. We're going over this with you every month. But if you are on this call and you are not, and that fits your mold, and you don't know how to pull this information, please drop a fire emoji in the comments here and we will help you out. Okay. Transitioning here a little bit back to marketing. So Jules, let's talk about marketing metrics. I love data. We love KPIs. You love data. You love KPIs. Let's talk about marketing KPIs like cost per lead or conversion rates. How does that overlap with the operations KPIs that I'm looking at, and how can owners use them to make better decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. KPIs is definitely our love language. And I felt like MJ and I kept seeing, as we were attending different presentations and talking to different people throughout the conference, was that no one really knew what to track. It was this recurring theme that everyone said you needed to pull it, but no one really knew what to pull, right? And so something that Caitlin and I talked about a lot, and Caitlin even presented this with Audrey Neff during their marketing KPI presentation, were our favorite KPIs that are really important to track and what they'll tell you. So the first one is cost per lead. Obviously, there are different benchmarks depending on if you're, marketing a high ticket offer versus a low ticket offer, what your CPL should be. The next one is, your opt-in rate. And so out of those leads, right, that are clicking over, How many of them are really opting in and providing you with their information? And of those people, what is your appointment request rate? How many of those people are actually requesting an appointment from you? And how many of them are confirming 48 hours before their appointment? All of these rates really add up to show us, is the breakdown in the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, right? After they confirm their appointment, what's your cancellation rate look like? Do we need to take deposits? Do we need, to make some changes to your cancellation policy? How many are no showing you? And then based on that, on your show up rate, how many of those are your staff really converting? What does your revenue per patient look like? What's your return on ad spend look like? What's your cost to acquire a paying customer? Those are all detailed in the workbook that we gave out at the Aesthetic Show. If you are interested, please drop your email in the chat here and we will share them with you. It shows you the exact formulas to track that, where to find them. But when you are able to pull all of these rates that kind of walk from the top to the bottom of the funnel, you're not just hoping that your marketing works and gambling, if you will. You're really able to see what your return is and figure out, like, when your marketing and your operations are all holding hands, that's where you'll see that magic in all of the money you're investing in your ads and in your marketing spend. So the numbers should really tell you where the cracks are and where you should be pouring gas on the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. I could not agree more. So if you are currently someone who went to the Aesthetic Show and you're feeling that post-conference fog, or if you've been to one in the past and you know exactly what we're talking about, please do not let the overwhelm win. Okay, choose one idea, tie it to your KPIs, assign it, and schedule it. And if you didn't attend this show specifically, let this call be your reminder to stay plugged in. You need to attend the next one. The aesthetic industry is evolving fast, and your patients expect you to evolve with it. Okay. Juliana and I are both here to not just help you learn, but to implement with clarity. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last thing that I'll say is, do not sleep on how powerful your momentum is right now if you are coming back from the conference, right? So, or even from this call. So if you're feeling lit up, don't fizzle out in your inbox or your ClickUp board. Take the energy, pick the strategy, and put it into motion. And that's how the real growth is going to happen. So, all right. I am going to open the floor for questions. If you have any specifically, please drop them in the chat. I did see one come in for you, MJ, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. And I think this is actually a really great question. So let's say the business owner went to the conference, right? How can I get my team on board if they didn't attend the conference with me? They don't have that same hype and energy that she's on right now.
Yeah, I'm so glad that whoever asked that, that is such a good point, because you get this fuel and this excitement. You get so many, wonderful tips and tricks to build your business. And then if you don't use our power protocol and you make decisions with pick one, assign it, and have a due date, consolidate your information. If you don't, guess what is going to happen? You're going to come back and word vomit all of these ideas to your manager, to your assistant manager, to your front desk, to anyone who will listen, to your providers, anybody at all. And guess what? They are going to get unbelievably overwhelmed with that information. So we don't want to do that. It's one thing to get excited about, hey, I've ran into this person, or I met this person, or I learned this. That is wonderful. Connect with your team in that way, but don't all of a sudden walk through your doors and say, Juliana, I need you to do these 10 things. This person that was speaking at the conference told me it's going to change our business. And then 2 days later, Juliana, I need you to do these 10 more things. That is not going to get her excited. Your team is not going to be on board. So you really need to follow our power protocol. You need to stick with choosing one. Does it tie into your KPIs? Number two, action plan. What's your due date and who are you going to assign it to? Be very intentional with how you relay these tasks and information. That is going to help them get on board. That's one piece of it. The second piece is understand the why. If you understand the why behind what they are telling you to do, what is going to change your business, it is so much easier for you to relay that with confidence and clarity and excitement to your team so that they can understand the why. Because if you walk through the doors and you say, Juliana, I heard from everybody at this meeting that KPIs are the way to go. We need to know, we have to start tracking KPIs. And Juliana may say to me, well, why? Like, what does that do? And if you can't really answer, they don't also have your buy-in. So make sure that you're organizing the tasks with all of your excitement in a, organized way. Don't just throw 1,000 tasks up into the air and hope that one of your team members catch it. Be organized, assign it, put a due date, and know the why. Give them the why. That's a great question. All right, let's see if we have any more here. Okay, we have one from Instagram here. What were some of your biggest takeaways from the presentations that you sat in on? I guess you can answer that, Jules. I think you'd be perfect for that.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was pretty lit up. I saw influencers or like, aesthetic celebs talk about their journey at the marketing presentation. And then I also got to attend one of Terry Ross's presentations as well. And a lot of times, guys, a lot of us are saying really similar things if you think about it, right? Like a lot of it is similar, or you've heard it before, but sometimes all it takes is hearing it in a different format, said in a different way from a different person for it to really resonate with you. And so one of those things was from Rajani, and he was talking about how his posting strategy, right? And the way that he structures his social media. And he said that he uses the 3-2-1 strategy, which just really resonated with me. He does 3 posts about community building, 2 posts entertaining, and then 1 post is a sell, right? A salesy post or a promotional post. And then he just keeps going through that same rotation. And that's pretty similar to what we already do here at Diamond, right? It's the same, but I guess it was the way he packaged it up as the 3-2-1 strategy just really stuck with me. So Dr. Rajani did a great job explaining that one to me. And something I heard from Terry Ross was a statistic, right? That when patients are in their consideration or their discovery phase, they're comparing 3 to 5 providers before they make that decision to book with you. And I think that just really speaks to why it's so important. You guys need to have before and afters. You need to be collecting Google reviews. We need to have social proof, and we need to build trust on your website, on your social media, through your email newsletters. Like, we have to really brand you as your celebrity, as an authority in your town, in your location. So that way it is a no-brainer when they're comparing you to the other 3 to 5 providers that are showing up on a Google search. So, all right, I'm going to check. I haven't seen any other questions come in. So MJ, do you have any final thoughts, or should I close us out?
I don't. I think we summarized it pretty well. If you take anything from this, Jules and I could have hopped on here and told you every single brand new device that's on the market, every single new product that we were seeing, all of the new shiny objects. And we sat down and decided that I don't think that that would be the most impactful. It's interesting. But when you go to these conferences, we want to encourage you to go. We want to encourage you to get more knowledge, network with the industry professionals, get excited and evolve with the industry, but do it in a way that you're not going to feel overwhelmed. I did actually just see one more question here.
Oh.
We are looking at swapping EMRs. We are currently with Nextech. Abby recommended 4D a while back, and we've done some demos, and it seems to be a great fit for us. Do you have any recommendations from expos outside of those you may have seen? So 4D is wonderful. I think that there's a couple, choosing an EMR, there's a lot of variables that I would need to know about your practice. If Abby is, she's looked under the hood at your practice and she thinks 4D is the best one for you, I absolutely trust her with that. There are so many variables variables? Are you taking insurance? Are you storing your before and afters on there? Is that your main POS system? What type of reporting is important for you? Does it, integrate with your website for online booking? Does it have an app? Is that important to you? So there's a lot of variables here. And if Abby says 4D is the one for you, absolutely trust her with that. She's 4D is wonderful and she's pointing you in the right direction. Stacy said, please send how to get KPIs and which to start with. We use aesthetic record. Absolutely.
Yep, I got you, Stacy. I'll send over my marketing KPI workbook. I got your email. Thank you. Anyone else want to drop your email or a fire emoji? Just let us know. But we are at time here. So if you guys loved this training, make sure you share it with your team or another med spa that could benefit. You can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel. And to get access to more free trainings that will help you grow your med spa, visit the link tree in our social bio and be sure to join us live every Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time, same place. Find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And we will see you guys soon. Have a good day.
Bye, guys. Thank you.